to Geeking Out. I'm your host, Moose. With me is Tony again, special guest. No Sleaze today. He's under the weather, not feeling too well. So today we're going to be going over the next couple Rebel episodes and a few news things and other things we wanted, and 2 new what ifs as well. So without further ado, let's go right into the news. It's been announced by Star Wars that there's going to be actually a new trilogy that has nothing to do with the Skywalker sort of line or whatever. I know.
So where do you think they're going to go with that? Like, you think, I've heard like all the speculation, Old Republic, is it going to be Darth Bane time? They going to, I know for a fact they said it's going to happen in some part of the universe that they haven't covered in the movies.
Right. I sort of hope it's, thinking about it more, that it's actually officially announced. I know we talked about it a little bit before in prior episodes. Yeah. I sort of hope it's after everything, as far as the trilogy goes. That way there's no, like, tie-in with what's going to happen eventually.
More of like that comic book line Legacy, where it was Luke Skywalker's grandson?
Something like that.
Yeah. Which is totally not canon anymore.
Right. But what I'm getting at is, they made 4, 5, and 6. Obviously, 1, 2, and 3 was right before, but eventually what happens. And if they did Old Republic, they could do it really, really far back, but you still know what happens eventually.
So,
I'd be down for Old Republic too. There's a lot of good story there, depending how they did it.
Definitely.
But I think I'm leaning more towards something totally different after Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and whatever the next movie is, and all that sort of thing.
And like I said last time in that other podcast, I wouldn't mind them starting with Darth Bane, and let's work their way up to Episode 1.
Right.
And just go through all those Sith Lords. How many generations in 1,000 years? Like every 20 or 30 years, you probably get a new one?
Something like that.
I have to do the math on that. I can't do that in my head. Also, like, I wonder how, because it's like, it's a Star Wars A New Hope, Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, right? But this isn't going to be part of that. It's not going to be about the Skywalker family.
Right.
So is it going to be like Star Wars, Game of Thrones, Episode 1, the whatever? So, like, I wonder how many lines we're going to get now in the titles. Is it going to be like a whole other, after Star Wars, is there going to be a whole other title that represents this specific trilogy and the name of that episode 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah, because if you think about, like, Rogue One and the new Han Solo movie, it's just blah, 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 a Star Wars story. Yeah, doesn't even have the, like, rolling text that from the credits, like, this is what this story's about. Doesn't have that in the front, or the beginning, rather, which was interesting. So it could be something like that, or they could do, I'm guessing they're not going to do the episode thing, because it's not in order anymore.
But it will be a trilogy.
It will be a trilogy, but, episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 will be done by the time they make
this. That's
this.
what I'm saying. This trilogy will be its own thing.
Right. I don't think they're going to make, like, a new episode 1. Like, it wouldn't make sense.
Right, no. What I'm saying is, like, you got Star Wars, the main header,
right,
and then under it will be, like, the whatever saga, the Old Republic saga, or whatever, Episode 1, the beginning of the Old Republic, or whatever. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
they could do it. I just think,
I don't
know, it seemed like there'd be some, like,
the names would be a half a mile long.
Yeah, well,
that's
not just that, but if you think Episode 1, you think of Phantom Menace. And then if you think Episode 1, no, you'd be like, Old Republic. Is that the Episode 1 you're talking about?
Right. It's
not that it's like
confusing.
not that it's a huge deal, but it's still like, I'm guessing they'll probably do Old Republic, a Star Wars story or something.
Part 1.
Third. I don't know. I don't see them going like Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3 again. which they could, obviously, but it's just...
I kind of feel like it's just going to be a big, giant, long name of convoluted fucking shit.
We'll see. That'll be interesting. Either way, it's pretty awesome because it's going to, for the next at least, 10 years, there's going to be Star Wars movies. Like, in stone, this is what's going to be happening. So, you have Han Solo movie, you have, obviously, Last Jedi, you have another movie that's unannounced in between.
The Han Solo is the second one, right? So we got Rogue One, we got Solo, and they've talked about Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan, Yoda, Boba Fett, but I don't think there's any official word on what it's going to be.
Boba Fett seems a little, maybe not. I definitely haven't heard anything solid on Yoda, but the Obi-Wan one, like, they haven't. It seems like there's negotiating going on right now, but they haven't locked it down,
sort of thing. Yeah.
So
I mean, that seems like an easy route to go.
Yeah, let's do that now while Ewan McGregor is the fucking perfect age to do it.
Right.
We can grow old with Obi-Wan. I can, at least. In that special way that we all want to with Ewan McGregor.
Well, I said it before. I'm not sure if I said it on this podcast, but he's the one who made, like, the prequels bearable throughout. Not just him, but he was a constant in there that
definitely
was, like, good in the movies. So, I have a soft spot for him because he was playing Obi-Wan, plus he made it fucking worth watching.
Yeah, he played a badass too. He killed Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Like we talked about before, like you watch those trailers and you're like, Darth Maul is this is the baddest motherfucker ever.
Right. He looks so awesome and everything.
You spend that whole time waiting. You're like, I can't wait to see Darth Maul, and you sit through the whole movie. You're like, this is the fight. Oh my god. Whoa, he killed that dude?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is this dude?
Right.
That's why he lasted all those years.
And even, like, when he's first shown in the movie, Sidious is talking to Newt Gunray and the other fucking Trade Federation dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm going to send you my apprentice. And Darth Maul comes up behind him. He's like, boom.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that guy's fucking awesome. Black cloak and everything. It's like, wow, this guy's so... This is going to be, shit's going to hit the fan with this guy coming to town.
I definitely like that. That was the best part, is with Darth Maul in those movies. That was the best part of that.
I think those fight scenes were pretty awesome. Saved the...
We didn't need the pod race, but I liked the pod race the first time I saw it. But I hear, like, a lot of complaints about it. It's like, meh. I don't like the dialogue in those movies. That's what ruined those movies for me, is the dialogue. Yeah. I just like even from little Anakin to big Anakin to Padme. That's what
the weird situation and relationship they had. Like, he was a creeper, like we talked about before. I think a lot of the complaints were like the CGI, like in the episode 1, 2, and 3 was so high, and that's not what Star Wars was, beforehand. Obviously they didn't have that, but they had a lot of puppets and real people dressed up and stuff, and that's what the Star Wars fan was looking for.
When they redid the original trilogy and revamped it and took out all the scratches and clicks and farts and whatever.
Right.
I'm torn because it's like they did a lot of things that looked awesome, and I'm totally down. But then they made any Star Wars fan cannot abide the fact that Han does not shoot first in the revamped. Like, if you just change that one thing back to the way it was, I wouldn't have a fucking problem.
Yeah, I mean, they more just added things like, driving in, I think, Mos Eisley or whatever they saw at the beginning of that.
Yeah, you throw in a couple of more
That
monsters.
was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You saw the big white monster dude on Hoth. Like, you actually saw his full body now, and the revamped ones. I forgot what those guys are named.
Yep.
The big Wampas or whatever they're called.
Yeah, that's a Wampa.
Wampa, right. So that was cool to see the guy, because all you saw was his, face attacking Luke. But now you see him without his arm and stuff like that. That was added. Obviously some other things, but I mean, it was mostly just fill-in. Like, let's show them driving into this place. But that part, like you're talking about with Greedo and Han, was a big changing thing because how it originally was, which is not sure why they made that decision.
Everybody was fine with Han shooting him.
Right.
It wasn't a problem. This guy was a douchebag. Everybody knew it. You could tell. I don't know. There was no reason for it.
And he was there to take him in, so it's not like he was just like unarmed or something.
Yeah, what is he supposed to do? Go with this dude? You know,
Right.
like you know how that's gonna turn out for him. It's not gonna go well. He's gonna get killed.
Well, the other thing they added too, which was sort of stupid, I think, was when Jabba and some other, I think Boba Fett might have been there as well. Like it was in front of the Millennium Falcon in the hangar beforehand. His CGI steps over his tail. He's like, "Oh, why'd you do that to Greedo?" Blah 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 blah. It's like, why put that in when Greedo was there to capture him, to bring him to Jabba, and now they're all friendly and stuff like that, going back and forth.
Well, I took it as like, I took it in a way like, oh, maybe you kind of should be afraid of Han a little bit. And like he had Boba Fett there in case shit went down. But I think the fact that Han killed Greedo, maybe Jabba was like, oh, maybe I should be a little careful. I don't know. That's just speculation on my part.
Well, I think it was Clone Wars. Was it Clone Wars? Or was it Rebels? In one of the animated series, they actually had Greedo young. In one of them, yeah. And he was sort of like a pussy in it. So it was just like, was Greedo really like a good bounty hunter? Like
No.
you don't really like. Apparently he wasn't, because like,
well,
if you know Han Solo's like reputation, like you're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna sit down and tell you what's going on and not get shot.
I think it's in Tales from Mos Eisley's Cantina. I think has the story. That's only legend. It's Legends now. But it's Greedo, and it talks about Greedo and how he tried to steal a leather jacket from Han Solo back in the day, and then like he was just punked into confronting Han Solo by another bounty hunter. He was kind of a dipshit. Everybody knew that was going to happen except Greedo.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was getting at.
And the new one, from a certain point of view, that book, I'm at the point now where they got to Greedo, and he's a dipshit in that too.
Yeah.
He's a dipshit no matter...
It's sort of sad because he's really the only Rhodian that you know of, like, that's somewhat a big part, aside from I think the Senator in Clone Wars had a relatively big part
and
there.
And then there's that weird guy in Rebels with the Lobot.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy that was on Lothal with like Ezra's parents and stuff.
He knew Ezra's parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
he had a short thing in the movie anyway. But at least he was like a Rhodian that was somewhat not famous necessarily, but at least known, and he was just a freaking pushover.
Yeah, he is the most famous Rhodian.
Yeah.
Aside from Dutch's character Skara.
Yeah.
Shut up. So that was we were talking about the new trilogy.
Yes.
All right. We went way far.
Yeah, it happens.
All right.
Geek it out, man. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was obviously the big news with lately that came out. Another news that I think it's a rumor, but it's sort of, I don't think it's totally confirmed, is they're gonna have Disney's gonna make their own streaming service.
Yep.
And pull all their Marvel stuff off of
Netflix
and stuff. And there's going to actually be a live-action Star Wars show, which they've been talking about for years and years and years. Not Disney, but I think George Lucas and Lucasfilm or whatever.
So that's
thinking about it before.
That's another time frame where they're going to put
right. And again, we talked about this before. Dave Filoni said he wants to make he's going to make another animated series.
Right.
So there's going to be at least 3 more movies. Who knows where they're going to be going?
Live action
animated series. So it's going to be weird if they're going to. I wonder if they're going to throw them all together in the same, like, time frame, like how Rebels is. Like Rebels falls in. Hits Rogue One, and then it ends, and then. They do something
Rebels
like
is in the kitchen while Return of the. A New Hope is in the living room, kind of thing. Yeah.
So I wonder if they're all going to be connected, because that's how Marvel is hardcore. Like all the single movies are connected to the big.
Oh yeah.
Avenger movies. So it seems like they would, and obviously that's been successful. So I'm guessing they'd probably do that 3 times the amount with Star Wars. I don't see them doing like 3 total separate things. I mean, they could obviously, and it would be cool to see that, but I don't know if they would.
I'm sure it will all tie in at some point, and I don't have any doubt that at least some of it will be exactly what you just said.
Right.
How it's all kind of, this is happening here in this movie that affects whatever that happened in this movie, and yada, yada, yada.
Would be cool if they did with the live action, because obviously they could put that right to movie as well. If they had like a season of live action, Old Republic, whatever, it's irrelevant, and then had a movie for like the next 5 years or something, and then the second season was after that movie, and then the second movie was another 5 years or whatever.
Jesus.
So like they could just, right in a row. So you'd have to watch the live action. You want to see the movie because you're into the live action.
Yeah.
And that's something I would see them doing because they want you to watch and read everything possible.
It's
It'd be
almost
cool if they did that.
in a sense, that's kind of what they did with Firefly, but took a super long time to happen.
Right.
They did the first season, which was obviously supposed to be a bunch of seasons, but they did that first season, and then they finally got to do that movie. But like what you're saying is, they do a season, they do a movie, they do a season.
Right.
That's
just
insane.
Just a thought process.
That's insane.
Because obviously you couldn't do that with the animated series because they're not going to go like, oh, this is animated, all of a sudden there's live action.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be a relatively easy thing to do from live action show to that sort of thing.
I just hope they're careful with the live action show. I've noticed Marvel. I'm not going to name any shows, but I've noticed Marvel has gotten a little cheesy with some of the stuff they've had on the big networks.
And the problem is with that, I used to watch, I'll say, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. When it first came out. I was really like, oh, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But when you don't see all the cool characters that you see in the movies, it gets old relatively quick.
Yeah, like there's only so many times you can show me a newspaper about what the cool characters are doing.
Right.
So
and I wasn't, the agents, the S.H.I.E.L.D. is cool and stuff like that. Not that it exists anymore, so to speak, but the agents and stuff was cool. But of course, you're gonna be watching the movies for Thor, Hulk, or whoever else.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you don't see those big guys, big characters in the show, it's not gonna. It's like, eh.
I think, I definitely think they could have. I know I'm trailing off. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was good when it started, or it had potential, I should say, when it started. It just didn't. I feel it just didn't go the way it could have. It wasn't, it wasn't being all it could be.
Right. I mean, it was cool how Agent Coulson came back and stuff like that. That was interesting. That got me somewhat hooked from the first season.
Right. Like, whoa, how the fuck did this happen?
And how it all worked out to. They hid that so all the Avengers would get motivated to go fight and all that stuff. That's essentially why they did that.
Right.
But after that, it was just like, But I could leave the show away. I don't, want to watch.
Which is exactly what happened with me. It got to Netflix, and I was like, "Ooh, I've been waiting for this." And I watched maybe at least a season, and I was just like, "Meh."
Yeah, that's how I felt. I think the exact same thing. I watched one season just to finish it off, see where it went.
And I'd see the trailers, and they brought in Ghost Rider, the newer Ghost Rider, the one that drives the car, the muscle car. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, but it's just like, I'm never motivated enough to catch up to get to Ghost Rider. Yeah. It's like, I don't know.
So, of course, there's a whole story building up to that, so you'd have to watch probably at least that whole season to get up to that point.
Yeah. So, yeah, I hope they're going to do a live action. I hope they don't go down that road. I hope they take the time to do it right.
I mean, they've been, Rebels was great with character development, and I feel like attached to some of those characters. Definitely. So if they can do that and make them into the movies somehow, or a standalone or whatever, then that's fine. But if it's just some generic thing like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I feel is, then it's not going to keep my interest. I'll probably still watch it because it's Star Wars, but it's like
for a while I'll watch it.
Right.
I don't know, even if you're gonna make it shitty, I'm not gonna watch it. I don't know. Like, I really had to force my. There's some part like when I go back and rewatch the Clone Wars, some of it I have to force myself to go through.
Right.
I just went back and rewatched Rebels. And I didn't have to force any of that. It was awesome. When I was done, I was like, I have to put this in one of my top 5 cartoons of all time. Like, Last Airbender, Samurai Jack, Rick and Morty, this one, whatever.
Yeah, I actually just recently watched Rebels all through again, too.
Yeah.
And same thing, like, after the 3 seasons, obviously we're in the 4th season right now,
yeah.
I was like, I wish there was more. I didn't feel fulfilled just watching them and binging watching them and stuff like that. I knew eventually what was going to happen, but it was just still like, man, I want more of this.
It was great.
It was good.
I really enjoyed. I think because the first time through, because this is my second time watching it and binge watching it. My first time through, I was so like skeptical, like Clone Wars wasn't what I wanted it to be, and I was skeptical for such a long time. Even like when I got back to when we finally got to season 4, I was like, you know what? I need to just accept that this is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
And then I went back and that encouraged me to go back and rewatch everything in a new light. And then by the time I was done, I was like, this is awesome. There's no about to doubt it. No about to doubt it.
No about to doubt it. I like it. But yeah, with us talking about the new season and stuff like that, that made me like want to go back and watch it again to see like what I missed and just talk about it more and stuff like that. And just seeing, like I mentioned before, the development of the characters have been pretty fucking awesome. And I've been, attaching myself to the characters and almost caring about what happens to them and all that sort of stuff.
I mean, they've definitely had their there's definitely an episode here and there or a moment here and there where I'm just like, that was lame as fuck.
Right.
But
you got to think it's for kids as well, not just adults that love Star Wars.
They kill people in that cartoon. Like, I'm a little. I don't know if I'd let my 5-year-old watch that, but at the same time, I don't know if she'd get it. I don't know.
Right.
But she's watched it with me a couple of times, and there was a couple of times where I was like,
yeah, are you paying attention to sort of thing? Yeah.
I hope she's not paying attention to that dude just getting killed, right? I don't know. But like, there was some cheesy moments, but as a whole, it's still, even with those cheesy moments, I think it's definitely one of my favorite cartoons of all time.
And Chopper's like is awesome in it.
He's
like,
my
I just
favorite.
think about him, like how funny he is in it. He just has such like a personality. It's great.
The whole thing with BB-8, like, so R2-D2 was the cute kid, right? In the family, R2-D2 is the cute kid. He was the baby, and then BB-8 came, and he's the new baby, and everybody loves him. It's like R2-D2's fine, but he's the new. Yeah. And that's where it ends. Like, Chopper is definitely my favorite little droid. That episode with him and the protocol droid.
Yeah, AB5, whatever his name is.
Oh, you can't. Oh, you can't. Yeah. Yes, I can. Yeah. I was just like, I laughed through that whole thing. That was awesome. He's Snape.
Yeah.
That droid is Snape. It's the same, tempo. I can't. That actor that just died that played Snape. That droid is his. It's almost perfectly his voice, and it's definitely that character.
Right.
It's Snape and a droid. He's awesome. He's the best. I love that combo.
They've done well with not replacing R2-D2 because I don't know if you can do that, but just keeping a constant like droid presence that makes you like droids and not just see them as like machines that are there for the humans or whoever to do something with.
I like that. The I've had in my RPG game that you play in, one of my rules is if you're going to play a droid, you have to play a sentient droid.
Right.
You can't be a servant to one of the other players, or like you can be but you have to have your own agenda. You can't be just a blind follower. So
I don't know why anyone would want to play that anyway. That seems sort of boring. But some people try to outthink themselves and do something simple like that.
Yeah, well, I, I feel that like there are definitely a couple of people out there that could pull that off, and it not be so, like maybe if they played a Snapey type, I don't know, or a Chopper.
Yeah.
But to me, those droids are almost sentient. Definitely Chopper.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like the that protocol droid. I still hear things in his voice that make me think he's still following programming, but not Chopper. Chopper is not following any programming.
No.
He's following. He's got his own agenda.
He knows what's going on and everything. He knows, like, you even see him, like, almost that he has feelings as well.
Definitely, I definitely feel it.
So it's like,
yeah,
he's definitely connected more than just a regular, like, mouse droid or something that you see just rolling around.
I also like that he fucks with everybody, but at the same time, there are certain episodes where you know he cares about them, like the one where Ezra goes to Tatooine.
Yep.
And he's like, dude, yeah, just go to the settlement. It's cool. You know, Ezra's like, go to the settlement, and you see Chopper sitting there. He's like,
yeah, looking back and forth. Yep. I just watched that.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
And he turns around.
And that goes back to
following
like
Ezra.
the whole C-3PO R2-D2 thing when they
Totally. It was
so
totally
just
a
like
callback to that thing. Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Definitely.
So we'll see what he does. Like R2-D2 obviously went through the mountains and all that sort of stuff, and C-3PO went through the sand.
But Chopper didn't.
Right.
He followed Ezra.
Right.
Like,
so that was a little like
you
throwback or something.
You can see it in his body language. He's like looking back and forth, and then he like literally slumps down, and you could hear his voice like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
All right, let's
He's
do
like,
this.
I should go this way, and I know it's better going this way,
This
but
fucking
I
idiot
need to,
kid's
like,
gonna get himself
yeah.
killed without me.
That's going back to what we said before about Ezra needs to like grow up and stuff. I know
Yeah.
he thought he was doing the right thing in that episode, like going to help Obi-Wan or something. Obviously he didn't need it, but it was like,
Yeah, he did not need it. Ezra's help.
no. But he was, you know, supposed to be in the planning of the fall attack and all this other stuff, and he's like, I'm just gonna leave and steal a ship essentially and just friggin'
Which is the same
do
kind
whatever.
of stuff that Luke is guilty of.
yeah.
These characters, I think, these type of characters, I think, traditionally are showed with flaws. Like even Neo from the Matrix fucks up,
Right.
and he doesn't do the thing that's expected of him, or what the prophecy is expected of him, or whatever. These, it's just that theme just keeps coming back. They like that savior theme, you know, that kind of Messiah theme. They always show them like, yeah, he's gonna save everybody, but they also show you that he fucks up a lot too.
But
Or not
they
a lot.
they
But
get to the point like, you know, they're gonna save him, and some of the decisions make you think maybe that's not gonna happen. But usually in the long run they do somehow, some way. Like Matrix, like he sacrifices himself to save the world. I forgot what it was called now.
right, Zion.
Zion. There we go. Obvious fucking thing. And the same thing with Luke. Like he goes to try to save his friends and stuff like that. In the long run, like Yoda's like, "Don't go. Like you're not prepared for it," and he loses his arm because of it. But in the long run,
It
worked out.
Yeah.
so I mean, we'll see how this goes. And back to Rebels a little bit. Being attached to the characters really getting me to think about what we talked about before on Rogue One, where only confirmed people at Chopper and Hera that are left. So it's like I'm wondering what's going to happen, because now that we know, I think there's only 3 or 4 episodes left of Rebels.
Is it confirmed that it's Hera in the Ghost? Because
Well, they, like I said before, when after Jin is talking to like the whole console, whatever, like, oh my father's not a traitor. He's really for the rebellion or whatever. You actually hear General Syndulla to your ship or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that in the conversation now. Yeah.
So that's confirmed. You don't see her. You
Yeah.
don't know that she's driving the Ghost. And
That's
you
right.
actually see Chopper on Yavin as well. So those two
Jedha,
are...
right?
No,
it's Yavin.
Yavin.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay, yep.
In Rogue One, yep. So those two are confirmed. But of course, you know, Zeb, Agent Kallus, Rex, blah, blah, blah.
Ezra.
Ezra Kanan, you know.
So how old
Sabine.
is everybody?
I mean,
at that point,
they're probably not much older than Rebels because this is leading up to Rogue One.
right?
So I mean, if everything goes well, they all could be alive. It's not like old age is going to take them or something like that.
Yeah, like I guess they never really told us exactly where Rebels is in that time frame, did they? Is that ever?
I don't think it's officially like. I mean, I'm sure someone could figure it out.
Yeah.
Because at this time, there's no more Rebel cells. It's full on rebellion now. They're already on Yavin.
Right.
They're already, Senator Organa and Mon Mothma and everyone's already talking around the little circle thing that you see them throughout the movies talking, discussing things. So that's already happening. It's going to be interesting where they go with Lothal, because that's not mentioned in Rogue One, as far as I know. But that's like their main focus right now because of the TIE Defender factory and stuff like that.
Right.
And in the last episode of Rebels, which we'll get into later, but they talk about, at the end of it, they're like, we're going to go attack Lothal now. Finally, Hera gets the leadership of the rebellion to do it. And Ezra and Kanan and Zeb are on the friggin' surface of Lothal right now. So
You gotta think though, there's like, how many planets are in that galaxy? Like, I know of tons of planets,
right?
And there's probably, I mean, if even when you take into consider all the planets they've named over the years, like in Legends and to now, there's still got to be a billion more.
I mean, there's still the unknown regions, and outside of that,
or just even
really,
in regular space.
Right.
Like there's no way we could have covered all the planets that people go to and live on that are known in the entire fucking galaxy.
No way. Yeah. Plus, if they're off like the beaten path, hyperspace lanes, and all that stuff,
right?
There's going to be no reason for the civilized folk to go around there or anything.
Yeah, they're basically living down a dirt road in space.
Right.
No, I'm not driving down this fucking dirt road.
That's not marked or anything. We don't know how to get there.
I gotta calculate my Navicomputer every fucking 10 feet. Screw that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's aside from maybe like the core worlds that's pretty mapped out, the whole thing.
Right.
But after that,
hyperspace lanes.
Yeah, after that, it's probably, like I said, a lot of different planets that aren't even known or whatever.
Right.
But I guess Lothal is the TIE Defender factory. Like that's, as far as I know, the only place they're making that. So that's why they're relatively focused on that right now. And in the movies and stuff, you actually don't see the TIE Defender anywhere.
No,
so I'm guessing they're going to be successful, but how that happens against...
Until recently, that was just legend.
Right.
But since you're bringing it up, you just made me think that it's focusing on Lothal. There's that TIE Defender, but we never see the TIE Defender in the movies because the Rebels are going to fuck that whole thing up.
I mean, there's some that look somewhat similar in Rogue One, like on Scarif. They don't have like the 3 fins. I think they have 1 or 2 or 2. I think they have 2. I'm not sure what they're called. I don't think they're called Defenders in that movie. If they're even called anything. Yeah, it's
flat,
2.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's just like a adaptation of that or like the next step to it. I'm not sure.
I just chalk it up to, we need a new TIE fighter. I don't care what it looks like. Just make me a new one for a new movie.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. We need new toys.
New toys.
We need
TIE
money.
Fighters. We're not making enough.
New X-wings. Just repaint it. I don't give a fuck. We'll send them same toy with a new paint job.
It's blue now.
Yeah, it's blue now.
Even the AT-ATs, like there's the middle part's brown, so now we can sell those ones and all this other stuff.
Oh, from Rogue One. Yeah.
And now in Rebels they have a new walker as well. It still has 2 legs, but it only has 1 gun in the front.
Are they going to make that to scale? Like, is that literally going to tower over my old walker? My old AT-AT?
Who knows? No, I mean the small walker that is in Rebels. The one with just a single gun, not the AT-ST that you see walking on Endor and all that stuff.
There's a million different incarnations of those 2-legged walkers.
But you're talking about the big one that's in Last Jedi.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Obviously, according to the trailer, it looks fucking humongous compared to the AT-AT. So
yeah, the old one like comes up to its knee.
yeah, so
it's ridiculous.
It's fucking nuts.
Why do you need a dinosaur machine that big?
Just
because I can.
Yeah.
That's why.
We have
Shut
the
up.
power to do this. But you see in Rebels and everything, and even in Hoth, AT-AT does fucking work. Like it's nothing can really stand up to it.
Yeah.
So just imagine like how much powerful these things are.
In Rebels, they
Pretty
take
nuts.
them down like with the lightsaber, like it's fucking butter.
Yeah.
They just jump up in the air like.
I mean, I'm guessing that probably could still happen. Like with the bigger ones, they have bigger legs. Lightsaber probably could still go through it, I would guess.
Yeah.
But who knows? We'll see.
We'll see.
All right, have anything else for the trilogy idea or live action sort of thing? Not idea, but
I think they should get cracking and get that shit squared away, and hopefully Obi-Wan squared away too. I want that.
I think I did say that there's been enough of Obi-Wan, but I definitely would want to see it, and go to see it multiple times and love it.
Give me one more.
But again, the same thing could be said for Han Solo. I don't think that movie's really needed. But he's a popular character, and people will go see him. And
yeah, it's not needed, but
why not?
Yeah, like I definitely want to see. I'm hoping for the best with Han Solo. We'll see how it goes. I don't know.
It'd be interesting if they like you see the whole Chewbacca Han Solo before their Han Solo Chewbacca.
It's gotta be. It's gotta
like how
be,
that all started.
You
like
know, how he saves Chewie and whatnot. Yeah.
That'd be cool to see. How he gets the Millennium Falcon and all that stuff.
I've also been contemplating like these standalones, a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
Not so much Rogue One, but like the Solo movie, an Obi-Wan movie. Are these trailers? Are these pilots? You know, is this a pilot for a series? Like, oh, we're gonna do a Solo. Oh, you really like that one? Just so happens we have 2 other movies written for it too. We'll give you those too.
Right.
I wouldn't be upset if that happened.
We'll see how it is.
If it's awesome, yeah.
I loved Rogue One, but that felt finalized.
You know what I mean? When you kill everybody at the end, you definitely get an overwhelming feeling.
The ship that is at the beginning of New Hope is a ship that has the data now.
Yeah.
Then it seems like that's
perfect transition. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if they can do anything else with that. And I mean, they might just go up to A New Hope with the Solo movie. But who knows? I'm not sure where it's going to end. So like, he might be going to Tatooine for whatever reason, and that's where the movie ends. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case or not.
It's gotta happen like that. It can't happen any other way. If it doesn't end, like, or maybe I don't know.
So obviously,
that's a good question.
It's not Harrison Ford, so
yeah, can they do that? Because that dude does not look like Harrison Ford.
No. And he's supposed to be younger. Yeah. The Harrison Ford was that old in A New Hope, but
yeah. Luckily, Ewan McGregor looks just like Obi-Wan, so let's just do more Obi-Wan movies.
And Sir Alec Guinness is no longer with us, I don't believe, so
yeah, we can do Obi-Wan movies until Ewan McGregor goes gray, or longer, whatever.
Yeah,
until he gets sick of them. Until he gets sick of them.
I mean, he said he's like, I would love to do it again.
Yeah.
So he's all for it.
Yeah, let's get this fucking party started.
I mean, even if that's not the 3rd movie, they'll probably make one because he's down. Hopefully. We'll see.
All right.
Indeed. So one other thing I wanted to bring up was interesting photo I saw online. I'll switch to it right now.
Yeah, I almost forgot about this.
So the middle part, as you guys can see, is on Os 2, or whatever it's called, the planet that Luke's on right now. That's the first Jedi tree theory. People think is the first Jedi tree sort of thing. Then on the left is the Jedi Temple on Coruscant that looks very similar. You know, the big tower in the middle with towers on the side. And then on the right is the actual Jedi symbol, which also looks like that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting how it all sort of seems like it flows together, and that was the original thought process of making the symbol plus the temple itself was from this first Jedi tree.
Yeah, so what you explained to me earlier is the design for the temple is based off of this tree.
Right.
The
That's what it seems like. That's the
structures.
rumor and everything, and that's what I saw. I thought it was pretty interesting to throw it up here and discuss it a little bit.
I definitely see that, but I think I don't agree with their theory about the that's a phoenix on the far right.
Right.
Like, I don't agree with their theory of it that being part of it. Those first two pictures, I would say it's 80% undeniable.
Right.
But not on the last one. I'm not putting any money on that one. But those
Who knows if it'll ever be explained either. Maybe it will, maybe it won't.
Yeah.
But interesting tidbit. So
Definitely.
Rumor mill freaking going and stuff like that, so let's see how that goes. Alright, so we're back here. So we can get right into the last two before the last two Rebel episodes, the Occupation and Flight of the Defender. We'll get into those episodes. So the episode opens up with the ghost flying into Yavin. Ezra's seems like he's sort of asleep, having a force vision of old Joe and Ryder on Lothal. When they land, Mon Mothma wants Ezra to go to Lothal to go get info on the new TIE Defender that's being built there, like TIE Defender 2.0 or whatever.
From old Joe, right?
Right, got a message from Ryder that. Well, at least part of the message. I don't think she got the whole thing.
Right.
So she wants Ezra to go there to investigate and all that stuff.
For the Defender.
Right. Ezra, of course, wants to go. The whole Ghost crew ends up saying we'll go as well, volunteering. Mon Mothma says that's fine. You guys saying they work good together and all that sort of stuff.
That's probably I almost feel like that's exactly what she wanted to happen.
Right.
That's why she called Ezra. You know what I mean?
Well, Ezra is from Lothal and knows that and knows Ryder and all that sort of stuff. So.
Yeah, but I mean, it's so contrived. Like, look, I have this thing that I need done. It's on your planet that you've been bugging me to fucking go to.
Right.
Any chance you'd want to do it? Well, yeah. And of course, all his fucking friends will help him. Like, I'm not saying Mon Mothma is being a sneaky cunt, but she's definitely manipulating this situation.
Captain Hera, do you want to go?
Right.
Do you want to bring your crew? Okay, we'll
ask
go.
The leader of that crew.
Right.
Why did she ask Ezra? She wanted to put it to the fucking kid who was gonna think with his emotions and not his head. Not that I think it's a stupid idea to go. That's exactly what they should do. But I definitely feel like Mon Mothma's not an idiot. She's pretty fucking smart.
She worked for his emotions and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, I don't think her intentions are completely douchey, but they are manipulative.
Yeah, she knows what's going on. She's
definitely
smart. She just was a senator and all that stuff.
She doesn't say things on accident.
No. She does warn them that they might not have a way out. Like the Rebel Alliance, Rebels, whatever you want to call them, won't be able to help them get off the planet.
Which is why it's all volunteer.
Right. So it's very secretive sort of thing. So they end up talking to Catro Visago, I believe his name is, the devil-looking dude with the two horns.
Oh yeah, he's been in a few episodes.
He's pretty cool. When I guess he has some smuggling permits. Not smuggling, but trading permits from the Empire.
Yeah, he's been going back and forth.
Be coming back and forth on Lothal without issue. And they, in return for him bringing them to the planet, they actually give him some puffer pigs, if you remember those guys.
Yeah.
The ones that...
From Lando's episode.
Lando's.
Yeah.
So that was his whole thing, I want to be rich I want to get rich like Lando. So he gets 10 puffer pigs in exchange for getting them on the planet.
But he ends up getting enslaved.
Right.
Yeah.
So, as you said, on their way to the ship, the way to the planet rather, the ship is scanned by the Empire.
And pounded.
And they find out there's more than just one life form on there. Another comedic sort of part of the episode.
Puffer fish bouncing off the fucking walls.
Zeb scares all the puffer pigs, and they bounce off the walls, and everyone besides Vizago escapes without being noticed.
Right.
So that was pretty interesting. One thing that I thought was pretty interesting and worth noting was Agent Callus and Captain Rex are put in charge of the Ghost. And
that line.
Yeah.
It's like, I've been in charge of Imperial Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you're not in charge
exactly.
of the Ghost.
Another thing that he said to Agent Callus was, so many times I was chasing this ship and trying to get a part of it, and now I'm captain of it. And then that's when Rex says what you said. It was like, well, you're not really captain of it.
You're fucking in charge.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting that if they come save the crew eventually, or how that's gonna work.
Yeah. That's why I thought for a second there earlier I'd forgotten that they talked about General Syndulla in the Rogue One, but for a second there I was like, what if it's still Rex and Callus on there?
Right.
Well, obviously they're not.
Yeah.
She's still alive.
Alright. So from space on the way to the planet, you actually see Lothal on fire, and all that sort of stuff. So it seems like the Empire's doing the Empire sort of thing, taking all the resources and doing whatever they need to do to get the factory up and running, and not having any cares for the residents, civilians, or anything like that. So when they land, they decide to split up, Sabine and Ezra, and then it's Chopper. No, Chopper's not with them. Chopper goes with Kanan, Hera, and Zeb to go try to find a speeder. So Ezra and Sabine end up going to Old Joe's bar, and on the way, he's like, "Oh, this place can't be run by the Empire." Old Joe was.
Bar, yeah.
But in the long run, it ends up being friggin' run by the Empire.
And that kid shows up from the academy.
Right.
That Ezra helped out a while back. And he helps them get out of the bar because they forget to pay for their drinks or some silly shit.
If you remember the bartender, his name is Valen Reuter. He is one of the ace pilots. I believe he was the pilot that was on Lothal for Empire Day back in season 2 or whatever.
I was wondering about that. I couldn't quite place him.
So he's running the bar right now, which is for some reason they threw him back in. And the guy you were talking about is named Jaikal. I think his name is the guy that saves them and pays for their drinks before they leave.
I'd like to point out that the situation with that bar where that guy, that Baron, takes over the bar and is running it for the Empire, and the bar owner is dead, that is exactly the sort of thing that happened in Nazi Germany. For whatever reason, there'd be a gay bar, and then the Nazis would come in, they'd harass them for a certain amount of time, and then before you know it, the owner of that gay bar is run out, and then the Nazis are running it, and it becomes a Nazi bar. That is right out of history. That is definitely something. I mean, it just makes me believe it even more that this could happen. It makes perfect sense.
And the sleaze brought up before, that George Lucas actually said the Empire was modeled after Nazi Germany sort of thing.
Oh, really?
So
I didn't know that. But I mean, the helmet gave it away. Yeah.
Yeah, just the whole thing. And like you said earlier as well, is Ezra finds out Old Joe ends up being executed, which he was a Lothal, known on Lothal, and
when he walks up, he's like, everybody knows Old Joe. They couldn't do anything to him. As a matter of fact, they fucking killed him.
They killed him because he was trying to help some rebels get off the planet, which is pretty interesting.
But apparently he had some kind of underground railroad thing going on, because they end up in some tunnels or something in the bar at some point, right? In that episode?
Right. So what happens is Zeb goes look for some speeders. Hera and Kanan go and hide from some stormtroopers.
Yeah.
And the relationship, again, they're about to kiss, and then they get interrupted by Zeb, I have a speeder, come get it. So
the
they end up
Han and Leia kiss. Yeah.
So they end up getting a speeder, and the Thal's not the same as before. Like them just getting away easily. The speeder gets blown up from the Empire, and they have to run into those tunnels you were talking about. That's at the bottom of the bar. So there's a Death Trooper, some Stormtroopers, and probe droids that are searching for them inside the sewer tunnels things. What's interesting about those tunnels, you see Sabine's mark, like sort of leading the way to safety.
So other people are taking up, because she didn't put that there, right?
Right.
So other people are taking up that symbol and using it to.
Because if you remember, she sprayed painted that all over the place every time.
Right.
When they were just Phoenix Squadron, or actually when they were just the Ghost Crew, she was spray painting that every time they did anything.
Yeah.
And that's just almost a rallying call or something, just a symbol of hope that people on Lothal are still using to show hope or show the right way or whatever the case may be.
Obviously it catches on because it's carried into the movies in a ton of different incarnations.
Right. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It becomes one incarnation of it becomes the leader for the symbol for the whole rebellion. So
right. So it's pretty cool that it all connects and it's still moving forward and eventually gets to like what you said.
I think Sabine's designs were the best ones, though.
Yeah. Sabine's an awesome character overall.
Very complicated, knows a lot of shit, good fighter, she knows how to fix stuff, she knows how to, like, invent things.
And she's heavy into Mandalorian sort of customs and that part of it. But she's also a rebel, so that's going to be interesting where they go with the whole Mandalorian, like we talked about before.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian aspect of it, like where are they? Like obviously they're not in Rogue One, they're not in any of the new movies at any capacity.
Will they take on a bigger role in the, like in between that time?
Right.
You know, or on the sidelines. Will there be a standalone movie with the Mandalorians? Maybe that
would be cool to see, because aside from Rebels and a little bit in Clone Wars, there really isn't much info.
Is that Dave Filoni's new cartoon, The Mandalorians?
Because they might just be like, we're going to cut our losses. This rebellion is hopeless. Let's just go do what we want to do. Get stronger and go to the unknown regions or something and just...
Yeah. So many possibilities.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting to see where they go with it.
Definitely.
So at the end of the sewer tunnel thing, they find where to go. That symbol's at the top of a ladder.
And then Ryder opens it.
Yeah, Ryder opens it up and gets them away and brings them to his little camp area. And that's where that episode ends.
Right. They eventually have that talk with Ryder. I'm not sure if it's this one or the next one. They have that talk like, no, nobody else is coming, dude. It's just us.
Right.
Like, we don't even know if we'll be able to leave. Like, we're kind of stuck here.
Yeah, when they're on it's actually the beginning of the next episode.
Is that it? Okay. Yeah.
Where him, Zeb, Sabine, and Ezra, and the Loth Cats are back, which are pretty funny. They're all like over Ezra.
And more Loth animals later on, yeah.
Yeah. So that's when they're just watching like the TIE Defender little fortress sort of thing.
They sneak in and try to get some like intel on that thing.
Right. And that's when Ryder's like, oh well, we have all the info we need to send to the rebellion, and then come blow this place up. And they're like, well, they're not gonna come. Sorry, we're here alone. We have what we have, and that's pretty much it.
That's when Sabine comes up with the idea to like get the black box or whatever.
Right.
Whatever that thing's called.
Yeah, the flight data recorder, I think it is. So supposedly the new TIE Defender is like faster. It has shields now, has a hyperdrive navigation computer. So it's like almost unheard of to have that in like a fighter.
It's relatively beefy in that X-Wing Fantasy Flight game.
Yeah.
You ever played that?
I haven't, no.
It's a lot of fun. I use those ships for our RPG game.
Right.
Yeah. The rules aren't that tough, but It's almost tricky in the way that Magic the Gathering, that card game, is kind of tricky sometimes. You gotta know when certain things go off. But I'm getting off subject. In that game, it's pretty beefy. You know, it's not the best ship ever, but it's pretty beefy in that game too.
Compared to other fighters, though, is it like?
Oh yeah. It takes a while to. It's got a lot of like shields. It got some bigger guns. You know, it's not like. I mean, if you have a TIE fighter in that game, you basically put a red shirt in the fucking TIE fighter because it's not going to last. If you're using regular TIE fighters in that game, you're going to die. You're not going to win that game.
Right.
So,
yeah, they're more mass like numbers than ship
Right.
to ship, like we're going to beat you sort of thing.
yeah. I went down the rabbit hole with that game a little bit too because I ended up watching some YouTube videos on how to maneuver. Like you can set up your ties,
Right.
and those maneuver rulers that they use for the game. There's videos on how to set up your TIE fighters or any kind of squadron and how to move them in a formation across the board, like
Oh, that's
4,
cool.
5, 6, and he's like, and it's step by step. He's like, I can get you here, I can move your formation over there. I've attempted it a couple of times. If you don't do it right, you'll fly your ships right into your other ships and fucking explode them. So it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do. It's a very complicated game, but it's a super fun game to play.
It's pretty cool though. Like someone figured that out and how to make them work. And you just think like, to the movies, they're always like flying in formation and everything.
Right,
So
right.
to try to make that onto like a board game essentially, it's sort of cool.
And in the tournaments, there are dudes that have. They'll come in with not necessarily just like regular TIE fighters, but maybe some interceptors or maybe one of those defenders or something.
Right.
And they keep the moves, as long as their maneuvers are similar, you can do it. As long as all the ships in your formation have the same move abilities, then you can do that. But it's still
Pretty
like
cool.
even after I watched the videos, it wasn't easy. I've still crashed ships into other ships.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
Yeah, I'm sure they have like hours and hours, days on days, just practicing like doing them and all that stuff, and
Oh yeah.
perfect situation and all that stuff.
Totally.
So Ryder says, we have enough for the rebellion, and like you said, Sabine wants to get the flight data recorder for how fast this thing can go, how far it can go, like on a tank of gas, what his armament is, and all this sort of thing. So that's where her
Which
and
is pretty
Ezra.
ballsy, like.
It is.
You-
I mean, you got to think though that with that information, hopefully the rebellion can figure out a way to destroy this thing.
Maybe it's a little more incentive for the rebellion to pick him up, send an Uber, maybe.
Right. So Ezra and Sabine decide to infiltrate the little base, and the way they get into, they're hiding. They're like trying to figure out how to friggin' get onto the base. They get on the base without issue, but it's actually the Loth Cats that go attack, or go fuck with the the stormtroopers that are protecting the TIE Defender.
Yeah,
is
they
pretty
go
funny.
they go hard wild on those fucking stormtroopers.
But it's sort of funny because, these stormtroopers are supposed to be on guard, and they end up fucking chasing two fucking cats away and shit.
You see them later, like in the desert,
Yeah.
when the thing gets the
they see
explosions
the
go
thing, yeah.
off, and they're like, "Oh shit, we were chasing these cats. We're
Yeah,
like 5 miles
fuck.
from the fucking
We're gonna get
base."
fired, sort of thing. It's just funny that the
Yeah,
stormtroopers are always the fucking assholes that do like stupid stuff that you wouldn't think they would do.
Yeah, the stormtrooper corps, the trooper corps, really fell off after the clones were phased out.
Yeah.
Not the same kind of professionalism.
No, it's
That's
pretty
all.
bad. So Sabine goes into the TIE Defender to try to get this thing out,
Yep.
and Ezra's sort of keeping watch. And while that's happening, an Imperial shuttle comes in, and that's where Admiral Thrawn comes off.
He
Governor
doesn't
Price.
see Ezra. What
Not
happens
right at
to
first.
Ezra? Ezra gets caught up in some shit, right? What happens to him?
Well, he's hiding,
Yep.
and he tells Sabine like, "Shit,
Hurry the fuck
Thrawn
up."
is here.
Oh yeah.
What are we gonna do?" And she's like, "Well, make a distraction." So eventually, I believe a stormtrooper sees him and he starts fighting them and all that stuff. And And
that's when Thrawn sees him.
Yeah. So long story short, Ezra ends up getting into the TIE Defender with Sabine.
They steal it.
They steal it, and they blow up most of the ships that are there, aside from a few like TIE interceptors.
But the best part about that is on the last run, they're coming right at Thrawn, and Thrawn, like...
Everyone's hiding and shit, and he's
solid
just like,
steel.
fuck you.
Nope.
Boom, boom, boom.
He just stands there.
Yeah.
That was an awesome scene. That's from a movie or something, isn't it? I feel like I've seen something like that
before. Yeah.
Still, it was an awesome shot. I think they did a good job with Thrawn. To be honest,
I'm just wondering what's going to happen with him. Like, if you think back of the prior episodes, when he actually attacks the Phoenix Squadron base on whatever planet they're on, where Bendu is and everything. And Bendu says, like, I see your fucking end with, like, fire all around you or whatever his words are. I'm wondering where they're going to end that, because he's, as far as we know, not around in Rogue One or not around in New Hope or anything like that. So it's going to be interesting where this ends.
Did you read the novels? There might be some clues in the novels.
I've read the older ones that aren't actually friggin' canon right now.
That's what I mean. I haven't read the new one either.
We'll see what they decide what they pick from. But they don't take everything. So
like after the Emperor gets killed, apparently Thrawn is in the unknown regions,
right?
And he's looking for something for the Emperor, and it's speculated now that they're trying to tie in new stuff that's coming out with this old stuff, and they're speculating that maybe Thrawn was looking for Snoke for the Emperor. Maybe the Emperor sensed him or something like that.
Oh, maybe that's how they do it. They'll be like, because
that's not exactly what he was doing in the books, but I mean to try and retrofit it.
Well, multiple times Thrawn says, "I'm doing X, Y, Z for their Emperor," so he's down to do whatever he needs. So maybe he calls him and says, "Fuck your, hard on for the rebellion. There's bigger fish to fry. Go to the unknown regions for this new threat or something."
Yeah.
So maybe he doesn't get killed or whatever the case may be.
When I read about it or watched it on YouTube, wherever I saw that theory, I was just like, oh, that's not too far-fetched. That kind of pulls in some of the backstory from the original Thrawn trilogy and, adds in some stuff with the
fits it all in, yeah.
Snoke. I'm not saying it's necessarily going to happen, but it's a theory. It could be.
I mean, he could still be around in, episode 4, 5, and 6 too. He's just not where the fight is going on.
He's in the unknown regions when that happens.
Yeah. So I mean, he could still be around, I guess. It'd be cool to see him like in a actual live action movie or show or something later on. To see how depending how they end with him in Rebels.
Blue skin with red eyes, that's a lot of makeup.
Yeah. They can do it though. They do a good job with a lot of costumes and stuff.
Yeah. He's one of those perfectly humanoid aliens. The only difference is cosmetic, really. It's perfect human, except
I mean, he's like, they do such a good job with him in Rebels, like you said, though. He's just, the way he does everything, lays out everything, and just waits for, like, the perfect moment to attack. And obviously, Bendu was, like, a wild card that he didn't know about. Otherwise, he had all the fucking Phoenix Squadron.
Do you know who does his voice? He kind of reminds me of the guy that tortured Theon Greyjoy. What's his name?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The Boltons, right?
Yeah.
Ramsay Bolton.
Ramsay, yep.
His voice, it kind of reminds me of Ramsay Bolton, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah, he has, like, the perfect, like, speech. It's not normal speech. It's not a matter of factly, but it's just, like, very precise, thought out.
Calculated,
yep. It's just, like, it's his character, like, whoever decided, oh, this is what we're going to do, they hit the fucking nail on the head sort of thing.
Well, everything you thought of, he's already thought of it, and he's just waiting for you to catch up.
Right.
He's like, I feel like Thrawn is like one of those guys. He's perpetually like someone's following him in a car. Like Thrawn is in front, and everybody else is like following him in a car, and he has to stop at all the fucking yellow lights, wait for them, sort of thing. You know, like Thrawn is on a totally different plane of existence, and
right, everyone's playing catch up.
Yeah.
Well, you even see other admirals in the Empire that are just like, why are you doing this? Blah blah blah. Why are you letting them go? Like throughout the seasons.
Yeah.
He's like, this isn't the rebellion. This is just a cell. Like I don't give a shit about these 5 ships. I want to fucking crush the rebellion when it comes down. Yeah. And he doesn't strike until the other general. I can't think of the guy with the white hair and stuff, and goes to the planet they're on to almost start to attack on Lothal. He doesn't attack them until obviously he knows what the planet is because of Agent Callus. And a lot of the friggin' rebellion is there. The Phoenix Squadron plus that other squadron is there. I can't remember the name.
Is this that bot? Is this bleh. Is this the battle with the interdictor cruisers there?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So when I've
watched so many episodes.
That general, I can't think of his fucking name. It's gonna.
I know the dude you're talking about. Yeah.
But when he comes and the Phoenix Squadron's there's a good fucking force there. So he's like, and when he figures out with the flight pattern of the Ghost and where Agent Callus is sending in his freaking transmission, that's where the planet is. Like he feels like that's the rebellion, even though in the long run it isn't. But that's when he finally strikes.
Right. That was a great battle, especially like Admiral Sato at the end.
Yep.
When he flies his ship into that interdictor.
Because the guy doesn't listen to freaking Thrawn.
Exactly. And another example, like, dude, you're just playing fucking catch up. Just do what I say.
And he ends up fucking dying because of it.
Yeah. Didn't see that coming, did you? Well, Thrawn did.
Well, I was thinking, like, before that, like, you don't see this carrier in any of the movies or Rogue One or anything. Right. It's a cool ass ship, and that's the only carrier that I remember seeing throughout any time. You know what I mean? It's like a cool like concept. Like, oh, these guys are just fucking flying in, and
I think it's pretty admirable. Like, we're gonna create this character just to kill him. We're gonna create him. We're gonna make you like him, and we're gonna kill him. It's very George R.R. Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a huge sacrifice on his part, obviously,
but he destroyed that interdictor, which allowed the other ships to leave.
Allowed Ezra to get off the ship or out of and get Sabine's help.
Exactly.
That eventually gets the rest of the fleet that was left off the planet. So back to Rebels. Sabine and Ezra are in the TIE Defender, and I think there's 3 TIE Interceptors that chase them, and Ezra piloting it ends up killing them all.
Smokes them. They don't even have a chance.
And Thrawn's whole thing is like, if Ezra can do this,
who isn't a super, like, he's a decent
not
pilot.
He's a like
he can fly. He's
an average pilot, let's say. He's like, with our ace pilots flying these things, the rebellion's not going to be shit against
exactly
us.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's like, again, thinking outside the box. Like, he doesn't give a shit about losing 3 planes or 3 ships or whatever. He's thinking like, I don't give a fuck about this loss. He's thinking long term.
He literally sends those ships up just to see how they will do against the Defender. He doesn't give a fuck.
The Interceptors are the better TIE fighter. You know what I mean? Yeah. So at the time, as far as I know, these are the state-of-the-art fighters, are the Interceptors, and the Defenders are going to be a step above
prototypes.
Them. Right.
Hopefully, they're going to be better, which again, they are, obviously.
If Ezra can do that, then any actual good pilot would have a field day against anyone else. So Sabine's plan is to fly the ship all the way to fucking Yavin, so they can get everything they need off of it.
Right.
So she starts trying to disable the transponder so they don't know where he is, where they are.
What they don't know is there's a kill switch.
Right. Which she figures out once she does that. She's like, oh shit.
Just slightly too late.
Yeah. She's like, land. So 2 fucking fins flop off. and luckily, they land in the last one and crash the ship.
So then they take the black box, and they also take the
hyperdrive.
The hyperdrive engine,
hide it. Yep.
Which, yeah, it's too heavy to take with them. It's too heavy to take with them, but they need it to get off planet.
Right. Because that Ryder's base is a U-wing that doesn't have a hyperdrive, and that's
right.
the only ship they have to go anywhere with.
Right.
So they need a hyperdrive.
So they have to hide that thing, and again, the Loth cats tell them where to hide it.
Yeah.
And it's not long after that, the wolf shows up, right?
Yep. Throughout the episode, while they're running away from the Empire, Ezra keeps on seeing the Loth Wolf and is like, "What the hell is this? What's this? It's fucking weird." And asking Sabine, "Do you see that?" And she's like, "No, I don't see anything." So eventually a Loth Wolf comes up to them and does like some breath thing on Sabine, knocks her out.
Which I don't understand why that was.
I'm not really sure.
But
like,
whatever.
It was sort of weird, but you remember, like in the trailer of the season, you see Sabine and Ezra riding on this thing, and that's what the scene is from this episode. Right. So the Loth Wolf runs like crazy to Ryder's camp and gets them to safety.
But no one sees it except him.
No one sees it except him, which was very weird because we'll talk about it later, but the next 2 episodes, people do see the wolves. So it's like, sort of like, not sure why they did that, or...
I thought really there.
I thought it was originally Ezra's like connection with animals, like how he has like this, not weird, but a special connection.
Oh yeah.
With certain animals that
maybe that's
he's the only one that could see it.
Just brought the wolf to him. Is right. The connection.
So,
I think we can chalk that up to like, there's a part in one of the episodes where like, oh we thought Loth wolves might be extinct because no one sees them anymore.
Yeah, he says that we haven't seen them like hundreds of years, sort of thing.
But it's only because they're on a different part of the planet.
Right.
Which we'll get into next episode.
Yeah. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. And that's pretty much where that episode leaves off.
Yeah, that ends.
Brings him back.
And Sabine's like, "Oh, I didn't see anything." And
the wolf pulls a Batman and fucking disappears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where the episode ends. And then the whole...
The next episode starts with Ezra and that kid, right?
Right. But at the end of that episode, Kanan says, "All paths are coming together now." That you see in the trailer.
Huh.
So it's...
What does he mean by that?
I mean, it seems like everything is coming together. It seems like Lothal is the centerpiece of this whole fucking series. Like, they always seem like they're going back to Lothal for some reason.
He says that, too, to, Hera.
To Hera, yeah. Like, there's a bigger meaning for this planet than just us meeting Ezra or whatever.
We have to blow up the TIE factory, too.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what it seems like it's going to come down to the fight in Lothal, one way or the other. How things move forward or back or whatever the case may be, depending on what side you're looking from.
All paths are coming together. What does that mean? We're about to start the original trilogy.
Yes. The real movie's about to start.
The real movie's about to start.
So that's all I have for those 2 episodes. I don't know if you have anything else to add for you.
No, that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good this season. Other than that thing that Sabine, when she blew up her machine, that could have destroyed all the Stormtrooper armor. That was super stupid.
Yeah.
But other than that,
they're doing like
everything's great,
which I didn't expect. But they're doing everything as a part 1 and a part 2. It seems like.
Yeah. And
they're doing it perfectly together. And every Monday or whatever, there's 2 episodes back to back. I thought they were gonna. Yeah, it's just. It's great because you just sit there for an hour and then you're like, oh, this is fucking awesome. I get to see what happens next. And it relatively...
If only my kids will stop talking.
Yeah. It relatively completes that little friggin' thing of that that part of the story, so to speak.
Right.
So it's nice to do that.
Part 2 all in one shot.
Yeah. Instead of like waiting for a week or something, like, oh, what the fuck? What happens?
Yeah.
So I like that they're doing that. They feel like they're like sort of rushing the season.
It doesn't feel rushed.
It doesn't feel rushed, but it seems like they want to get it out there very quickly.
It feels like tension is building to me.
Right.
It doesn't feel like they're rushing things like that old show from HBO, Deadwood. They totally fucked that up that last season because it got canceled and they had to wrap it up quick.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that. It feels exactly like I said. Like tension is building. We're building something. Paths are coming together. You know, that sort of thing. I think they're doing a great job.
I'm guessing they just, for some reason or another, they're just going to end this right around when Last Jedi comes out, because it's going to be 4 more episodes or whatever. So it's
like I said before, I hope they end it during Rogue One, like because the Ghost is in it. Like I hope we see Phoenix Squadron's perspective point of view of what's going on in that battle during Rogue One.
What I hope, I think I might have mentioned this before, but I hope if the Ghost survives that battle, like this above Scarif, I hope you see the Ghost comes back to Yavin, and you see whoever of these characters get off the ship.
Right.
So you know who survives, one way or the other.
Right.
Or also, at the end of this season, you see either people die, or they say, like, the rebellion's not for me, or whatever the case may be, I'm leaving. Like, I don't want any friggin', like, what-ifs or any, like, gray area with what happens to these characters.
Let's wrap this shit up.
Let's wrap it up.
Yep.
Unlike the Clone Wars, where there was so many loose ends. And
that they had to fucking wrap up in Rebels.
Yeah.
There was so many loose ends that they needed to create a whole new cartoon just to fucking wrap it up.
Yeah. So it's just like, hopefully they end it, and they're doing a good job with it.
Yeah.
I think hopefully they put the bow on it, and everyone, I feel that it's ended well.
If that's not the last episode, then they need to make me a Star Wars Rebels movie that coincides with fucking.
I mean, it makes perfect sense they would, and the whole Back to Marvel thing, everything ties in together. It makes perfect sense that they would do that, and it would. If this they already said this is going to be the final season, why not end it there? They're already on Yavin. It's obviously not that much time in the grand scheme of things that is in between this and Rogue One.
Oh yeah, so we definitely know when they're there. This is not long before the original trilogy came out. Yavin 4. That's a big indicator. That's my answer right there.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, yeah.
They're already there.
It's close.
Obviously, the Phoenix Squadron has been thrown into there. So, I mean, like I said, they already have Mon Mothma there. They have Bail Organa. They have that general, I can't think of his name, the guy with the beard. He's a main, like, figurehead in the movies and stuff like that.
You said his name, Dodonna.
Dodonna?
General Riken?
Sure.
Dodonna?
I can't think of his name for some reason. It's like,
did you say Dodonna?
I didn't
That's
say
his
Dodonna.
name.
Is
General
it?
Dodonna, yeah.
All right, well, if I said it, I said it.
I thought you did.
Well, whatever. It came out.
The bearded guy is General Dodonna.
Oh, okay, good. Now we know his name.
Yeah.
So he's already a part of this, and he's already there. So I mean, it can't be that much time.
No, yeah. I definitely think we pinned it down.
And back to Saw Gerrera, he's right on the tail of the Death Star. So I mean, he's.
So another thing I noticed too, there's some shit needs to go down with Saw Gerrera because he's a little more fucked up in Rogue One than he is in Rebels.
He is, yep. That's where I was going to get to as well.
Yeah.
Like he's just running around somewhat normally now.
Yeah.
And there's some thing that goes bomb or something.
His legs are normal, right?
Yeah, he does have that armor on, but he doesn't have a breathing mask.
And he has his original legs.
He has his legs, doesn't have a cane or anything, so it's and he's not gray like he is in Rogue One, like his hair. So I'm not sure how much time.
I've seen where like massive trauma has grayed some people.
Yeah.
So I mean, you lose a couple of legs and get fucked up so bad that you need some kind of respirator, like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
You know, like. Yeah. What the fuck happened to Saw Gerrera?
Hopefully that's another thing. Hopefully they come up with.
Huh.
Or explain further.
Yeah. How did Saw Gerrera get so fucked up?
If they did the work and went down the path of introducing him in Rebels to give him more of a backstory.
Well, Clone Wars, they introduced him.
Right, but
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Brought
the
him back in
Saw that you
Rebels.
know from Rogue One.
Oh, yeah.
If they're gonna do that, they need to tell us the full story of why he's like that. Like, we already know he's extremist. We already know he's with two tubes and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
They need to explain that further, in my opinion, with
I
like
agree,
what happens and
yeah.
stuff like that. So, hopefully they do that.
Yeah,
That'd
definitely.
be another good thing aside from just up to Rogue One, where they need to go with Rebels itself. So we can end this podcast right there as well.